Okay, we're going to continue with Bickley's Thunder Egg by Bert Rhoads. And this is chapter 11. Chapter 11 is titled The Thunder Egg Reappears. As the boys were leaving for school the following morning, Mother called both of them to her. She put an arm around each of them. Now, boys, I don't think you should say anything about Ralph's visit here last night. And I don't think you should mention the Thunder Egg or Hank Collins or anything else about this affair. Can't we tell anyone? Tommy pouted. No, she insisted. It's better not to talk about the things that are private of our private business. It's much better not to talk about things that are the private business of our family. At the Ferguson school, the practice for the oncoming Thanksgiving program took up most of the time. All the children's talk was about their recitations, the songs, and Thanksgiving play. The older boys were busy getting ready the things for the play. The girls were making blue waves out of tissue paper. Miss Kitty was trying to fit the small children with suitable costumes, pilgrim costumes. And Bickley knew all the verses of his poem by now, and they practiced with him in the background. The older boys and girls sat in the back of the room and clapped their hands in delight. It was a beautiful pantomime, and Bickley's voice carried well. Now, what should we use for Plymouth Rock? Miss Kitty asked the children. How big was Plymouth Rock? The children wanted to know. Did you ever see it, teacher? Yes, I saw one, she said. It wasn't quite as big as my desk and not so high. Well, maybe we can use boxes and cover them with cardboard, one of the big boys suggested. That might do, Miss Kitty said, stepping out across the room to measure about how much space there would be for the rock. We could whitewash the cardboard to make it look like snow and ice. I guess it was cold when the pilgrims landed, wasn't it? The girl in the back seat made this suggestion. Then an idea struck Bickley like a hammer in the chest. We could get some real stones and rocks, he almost shouted with the words. We could pile them around the Plymouth Rock to make it look more natural and hide the edges of the cardboard. Why, that's the most excellent idea, Miss Kitty said, smiling at Bickley. Then her face grew thoughtful. But where would it get stones in this deep snow? It would be hard to look for them. Then Bickley spoke out in a voice that quivered with excitement. Oh, I know Hank Collins has a pile of the stones on his front porch. Of course, some of them are valuable, but he might be willing to have some of them from the program. The teacher beamed. Oh, of course. I'm sure Mr. Collins will let us have them. He is the treasurer of the school board and is very interested in the program. I will ask him myself. Bickley could hardly settle himself to study for the rest of the day. Of course, Collins might not bring the Thunder Egg to the program, but even if Miss Kitty asked him for stones, he might bring some of the others, but probably the Thunder Egg would be the top pile and be convenient to pick up. Bickley would just have to wait and see. It was hard to wait, but if Hank Collins brought the Thunder Egg to the program, well, then what? He resolved that if Hank should bring the stone, he, Bickley, would never let him take it away again. After all, Hank had practically stolen it. No one gave it to him. No one said he could have it. He might hide the Thunder Egg, but that wouldn't be exactly honest. Hank said that he was taking it for interest. Bickley didn't know what that meant, but it probably was something important. And of course, someone would offer to buy it. Could offer to buy it. Maybe Ralph would. But if Hank found out that someone was willing to pay money for the stone, the price might be very high. Maybe Ralph didn't have any money either. Bickley puzzled over the problem all day, and Miss Kitty had to speak sharply to him before the last recess. Do you suppose Ralph will come today? Tommy asked Bickley on the way home. He said he'd come today. Let's go. At home, John met the boys at the gate. Come with me, he said in a stern voice. I want you to show me exactly where you found that stone I whitewashed. The boys walked with John to the open cellar of the burned house. The snow had been shoveled out of the cellar and thrown up in great piles on the side. The floor was bare, and it was no longer possible to see the hole where the stone had been dug up so many months ago. Now show me, John said to Bickley. I think it was right here in the middle of the floor. Well, we're sure now that your stone had something valuable in it, John said. I don't suppose it mattered exactly where you found it. The important thing is to get away from Collins. How will you do that? Tommy asked. I don't really know, John said. It's no use asking him for it. There's no use in trying to buy it. The minute someone acts as if it's valuable, Hank just won't let them have it for any price, Bickley finished. Is Ralph here? Bickley asked. Yes, he's he was here. He helped me shovel all the snow. He thinks it's not ordinary stone. He thinks that there's something hidden inside, maybe money or gold. It was awfully heavy, remember? Oh, both Bickley and Tommy caught their breath in excitement. He said that Uncle Dirk said, find the stone. Well, you boys found the stone. I'm pretty sure you did. And now it's gone. John looked vexed and angry. I should have made Hank give it back to you, he said, looking at Bickley. I had no idea it was of any value. I thought he was just trying to be mean. Does Rolf know that Hank took the stone? Bickley asked. Yes. I told him. John kicked a scrap of charred shingle in the middle of the cellar floor. Didn't he know what to do? Tommy asked. No, of course not. John was impatient. He's going to hunt up the man in Marshalltown who cut and polished Red Hog Smith's stone. It might be that Hank would take the stone in there. What if they cut it open? There's lots and lots of money in it. Tom danced around in the bare cellar for glee. Then we can have jelly every day, and potatoes and pumpkin pie and beef stew. Oh, don't be such a dunce. John picked up the shovel, still lying on the floor. We don't have any thunder egg anymore. We can't count our chickens until they've hatched. There isn't a chance of anything hatching for us with Hank sitting on the thunder egg. Then they all laughed at John's joke and felt better. Bickley didn't speak about his plan to get Hank to contribute some stones to the Thanksgiving program. He knew that there was only a chance that the thunder egg might be brought to the schoolhouse, and he hadn't figured out a way to keep the stone if it should be within its reach again. It was possible that Hank already had done something with the stone. Bickley cringed inside at the thought. He doubled up his fists as he thought about it and felt that he would be glad to fight Hank Collins and make him give him up the stone. He had taken it, and it didn't belong to him. He had stolen it. He should be punished like any other thief. Bickley worked himself into a frenzy of anger over it. As the days passed quickly, there was little news from Ralph. He had found the stonecutter in Marshalltown. The man would be watching out for a stone come in. He would notify Ralph when it did. But Hank might keep the thunder egg for years before doing anything with it. He probably would. No one seemed to have any definite plan. Even Bickley could not make up his mind what to do. Finally, the night of the Thanksgiving program, everyone in the school district was there. The boys asked Ralph to come. He promised he would, because Bickley was to give their the recitation for the pantomime. Ferguson's schoolhouse was crowded to the doors when the Rosses got there, and Bickley went behind the curtain drawn across the platform. He must see exactly where he was to stand for his part of the program. The pantomime was to come on first in that evening's excitement, and the scenery was all in place. Bickley's heart pounded itself almost out of his chest when he looked down at the Plymouth Rock and the stones piled up around it. They were all neatly whitewashed, with a blue tinge in just the right places to make them look cold and icy. His eyes examined each stone, but his thunder egg was not among them. He felt a little sick. There was no time to grieve over the failure of his plan. The program was about to begin, and Miss Kitty looked very nice. She came to show him where he must stand. Bickley spoke out with a strong voice, and he remembered every word of his recitation. The pantomime went forward beautifully, and when it ended, there was such a burst of hand-clapping that the little schoolhouse practically shook with it. Bickley felt his cheeks grow hot, and his head was light with excitement. He stumbled through the scenery to the rear door and went through it into the big storeroom beyond. It was dimly lit by a single lantern hung from the hook on the high wall. He saw that the lantern wick was turned a little high, and the glass was smoking over, so he reached up to lower it and stumbled over something on the floor. He looked down and then knelt. His head reeled, and he wondered if he'd suddenly gone crazy. The thunder egg lay right there against the wall underneath the lantern. And that's the end of chapter 11.